Now you might remember I did a video some time ago on the correct way to session lock your Linux computer, and really what we found was using X11 and graphical environments was not the correct way, or let's say an adequate way to lock your Linux computer. The point being that you still have the Linux console, and the Linux console loads X11, loads Wayland, and this can still be activated, this can still be accessed, and if it's already unlocked, you can effectively use a control Fn F1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and a sudo chvt and then whatever number command to access the Linux console. Now if your Linux console is already locked, it will still have to be accessed with a password, but technically it's not actually, the console is not locked down. Okay, so if it's already been unlocked, as we found out in the video, and if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, go back to that video, you will learn all about this, then your computer is not technically locked. It can be accessed. If you have a shell running on the Linux console that is not locked by a user, or not locked down, let's say, then anything can happen. Okay, in theory anything can happen. Your files aren't safe and whatever. And this is really just a good practice thing, a good thing to do, which was to lock the Linux console, not X11, not the graphical environment, because if you lock the Linux console, you lock everything, including the graphical environment. Okay, so that's the premise. And I will just demonstrate what I'm talking about very briefly for those who missed that video, but only very briefly, just to give you the heads up. And then we will look at this comment. So first of all, actually, let's look at this comment on this screen. And I had a comment from No0 who said, you can disable switching to TTYs in your XOR config. Look into don't VT switch or set XKB map dash option SRV keys :none. Don't know why I read that out, but I did. Okay, so what we're going to do today is we're going to try this and see what kind of functionality we get. Is it going to be adequate? Is it not? Let's find out. I have tested this already and the results are interesting. This is what I looked into, so this references what No0 talked about here. So first of all, let's go into my virtual machine. To prove to you I am in the Linux console. Okay, so let's start off in reverse. Okay, so if I do a vlock -a, the entire console display is now locked. Okay, so if I go F2, F3, F4, F5, F6, F7, etc. And the importance of this is that those are the FN keys. Obviously I'm using a virtual machine, I have to do it like that, but that is the same as doing control whatever F1. Okay, so the importance of that is everything is locked down until I put in my password. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So if I put in my password, as you can see, that's now unlocked, and now I can switch between these different consoles. Okay, and then if I go F4, that's locked. Okay, does that make sense? Great. So if I start up X11, okay, now remember we have F2, F3 unlocked, okay? And if I do start X and I go into X11, okay, to prove to you, use an X term, which is an X11 terminal. Can we make this bigger? Oh, now show you, obviously I can do F2 and there we go. I've gone back into the Linux console. And if I switch back, so there is a program called iFreeLock. So if I do iFreeLock, basically I have to put in a password, okay? And if I put in the password wrong, and I cannot access the console, or can I? Well, if I do F2, as you can see, I'm back in, I'm back in the Linux console. So it's not actually locked, right? So if I do my password, it will verify and unlock. Okay, does that make sense? So, what is the suggestion from No Zero? It's disabling the switching to TTYs. Okay, so here it is. This is what we're going to put in. So if you haven't already, we can do this from X11, whatever. Let's just do it from X11. Okay, so if I can get this annoying thing out the way, if it will go out the way, there we go. Right, so let's go into CD etc X11, okay, and then in X11 we're going to do sudo vim, because remember you're in the system files, and we're going to create a what's it called, an xorg.conf. Okay, you need your password. Right, and in here we're going to put in this block. Okay, I'll make this bit bigger if it goes a bit bigger. Okay. Ah, so annoying, so slow. It's so slow. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to type this out because it's always more fun to type out and make lots of mistakes. Okay, section server flags. Okay, I think it's option, and then it's called don't VT switch. Ooh. And then let's we want that as on. Okay, and then end section. Okay, and it says you also need to do the following to cause events to pass through clients, whatever, connect to display. Let's just go with this to begin with, and I'll show you what this does. I'm going to PQI3 and just start up X again. Okay, so if you remember what we were doing, so let's make this a bit bigger. If I do i3 lock, now remember the console is locked, and now we do know that the Virtual Console 2 and 3 are unlocked. So if I do F2, F3, F4, I can't access them. So it's literally locked the Control Alt F1 key. Fantastic. Really good. So there you go. That's how you can use i3 lock to stop switching VTs, to not have access to the Linux console, and potentially have a security flaw. However, just be aware, although this works, it will not lock sudo chvt. So remember, you will still need to use something like i3 lock. You'll still need to use something like that. And if I did sudo chvt2, I'd still have to put in a password, of course. But this console is not locked. So just keep that in perspective. You still have to lock the console. Disabling the Control Alt function keys is not enough. You have to run i3 lock. So there we go. This stuff you may need to add. It's up to you if you want to add it. I've added it. It doesn't seem to affect functionality for me. And you've also got the set XKB option, server keys, none. Again, I've used that. It doesn't seem to affect functionality. So that has worked for me. Using this section here. So again, if you need to add the following, you also need to cause events to be passed through the clients to connect, whatever. That's just, I'm not going to make this video on forever. So I hope that makes sense. So thank you very much, No Zero, for your information there. I will put the link in the description. And there you go. So there is technically a way around it. Arguably your Linux console is not locked, but it doesn't matter because i3 lock now has full functionality by disabling those function keys. And unless there's anything I'm not aware of that can bypass that, please put in the comments section, of course, if you know. But there we go. So another nice little solution there, thanks to NoZero. Fantastic. So I think we'll leave it there. And you know what you can do? You can do the fake YouTube where you can like, you can comment, and you can subscribe. And I will, of course, now give my thanks to Sean and HTX80Nerd, who are membership supporters of this channel. You can find out information on that in the description on my Patreon, and technically I've got it as a YouTube as well if you want to subscribe to that. Fantastic. I appreciate you guys doing that. And it just gives you little extra perks such as early videos and, of course, like you're seeing, having your name on the end screen. So there we go. We will leave it there, and I'll see you in the next one.